how do I reconnect with a friend who keeps saying that she's busy, but she still has time for other people? Like, oh, this friend's always busy. That's a tough one because part of me is like, goes into the he's just not that into you. Like, I'm spending time with people who I want to, or whatever bullcrap text that you got. Hello and welcome. I am here with my emotional support blanket, my sister Sarah. Welcome back. So happy you're here.
Hi. Yay, I'm glad to be here.
How have you been?
Good. Well, good.
Good. Question mark?
Question mark. So I'm back in school, like the new quarter has started, and I'm taking physics, and I want to cry multiple times a day because I don't understand it. I hate it. Like immediately my brain starts going just like, no. Seriously. I had one of my derby teammates tutor me yesterday and we just went over such basic things. Like,
you're like, tell me
when
like
I have
I'm
a
5.
triangle. Yeah, seriously. I was like, okay, I feel like you're teaching 7th grade physics. Like when you have a triangle, which little cosine, sine, or tangent do you use to find this? And like, it's just basic trigonometry right now.
There's nothing basic about trigonometry. I feel like just the word, like this is already above my mental pay grade when you say the word trigonometry. Like there's
there's
nothing...
all these like Greek letters that I'm just like, yeah, it just makes me really want to cry. But
no, unless you're going to be a physicist, like why? I'm so sorry. For anyone who isn't aware, Sarah is going back to school. Give anyone who doesn't already know a quick summary.
So I was 42 when I decided to go back to school. I am now 44. I haven't been like constantly in school that whole time. There have been a semester or two that have been taken off, but I am taking classes to apply for the diagnostic medical sonography with an emphasis in echocardiography. So basically ultrasound of the heart. That's the program I'm hoping to get into. So I'm doing prerequisites right now to be able to apply to the program.
And one of those is physics. Physics, yay! I'm so sorry.
I'm currently not failing. Actually, I have an A so far, but we're only 2 weeks in. Yeah. And I don't understand what I'm doing. So I can sometimes just like, okay, follow the template, put in the numbers, check to see if the answer is right.
I remember when I had to take it in high school, feeling the same way of like, I don't really understand this, but there was enough busy work and enough basic stuff that I could like limp through with a B.
One of the reasons that in the past I had chosen majors that I did was because it didn't require more math and like math-based science. Strangely, I've chosen to do that now.
It's like you've come fully full circle.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And if I don't make it into the program, then
you have a lot of useless information in your brain.
No, it's useful because it made my brain have new connections.
Okay.
However, it's a lot of wasted time.
Yes. Okay, so let's think positive. We got to think like it's going to be great. You're going to get in the program.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. Anything else going on?
Also, I was going to tell you, okay, so it's fall. I have a pile of just clothes that like aren't dirty but aren't clean. Like I've worn it once and then I set it in the pile and then I can like use it again because it's not ready to be washed. You know what I mean? Like a sweatshirt or a jacket. So I put on this zip up jacket yesterday. I grabbed it from the pile. I put it on. I go to do my makeup. And as I like finish up my makeup and I look down, I see something moving. A spider was descending down my leg and onto the floor. I can only assume it came from the jacket that was in the pile.
Oh my gosh.
So now I need to burn everything.
Yeah, light a match.
I need to like get pest control or something in here to get rid of. The spiders here are different than in Indiana.
Yeah.
They're
There's
scary
really
in a different way.
Or another thing you might need is a blowtorch.
I do. Oh my gosh. Can we tell that story?
Okay, so this was 10 years ago. I had just moved from Utah to Indiana. A lot of my stuff had been in storage for a couple months. And so finally moving it out of storage, moving into the indoors, a house. And so I am cleaning a bookshelf and I see something that's like a little, it looked like a tiny, almost like the end of a Q-tip, right? And so I've got like cleaner and a paper towel and I move it, and out of that little tiny Q-tip end, hundreds of baby spiders. It bursts open and they're moving
I remember.
everywhere.
I was there. I was downstairs.
I scream. First, I spray out like 409. I'm like, oh my gosh. Trying to poison these million babies. I'm, you know, committing whatever type of like baby spider murder. I come down screaming. I'm like, I need a blowtorch.
Yes, I remember that.
True terror. Like I was ready to burn the house down.
I need a blowtorch.
It's horrible.
So now that's kind of a common phrase that we've
become
continued with.
family lore of like I need a blowtorch. It's like, oh, it's threat level midnight. That's where we are. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that you felt that, because that is horrifying. Okay, so we've officially reached like the burr months, like October, November, December, and I feel like my life is just like on fast forward, like it's on super speed, because I have so many things, and I know like every person, it's busy for them, but I also have like, we host a Halloween party with some of our neighbors. And then we've got my daughter's birthday party. I know, it's going to be so fun. But also it's like, we've got my daughter's birthday. That's next month. And then I've got my birthday, which is like, you don't need to do a lot for my birthday this year, especially because like last year, 40 was, a lot. But it's like, big. And then it's like all the normal things. So I'm already feeling, I don't know if you saw on my Instagram that I posted this reel of, it had like somebody running on a treadmill, and then it had somebody running behind them. But it's like one person running, the other person running, and the other person, it was like all the things the moms have to deal with, which is like all the expectations and the holidays and this and the, making the magic. And so it's like that's slowly gaining on this mom that's like sprinting away. That's how I feel. Well, let's get into what we're talking about today, which is we're doing kind of another extension on adult friendship, because this is what like it strikes a chord with so many people. Really, I want to talk about why midlife friendship, it feels so hard sometimes. And you think like, oh, I'm in my 40s, like I should have this figured out. But like there are a lot of things that make it so it's not so easy to maybe be friends, or like have these easy breezy friendships that you think, oh, I should have this by now.
Well, we brought this up in front of our mom last night because mom and dad are visiting. And she was like, I've never had trouble with friends. And it's like, Mom, did you forget about this friendship and this person?
We brought up 3 people right away. And then she was like, oh, I guess I have. It's like,
right. I mean, it's not currently affecting her, but she hasn't had this perfect track record.
Exactly. And I don't think anybody
honestly,
does. Like,
it's probably those 3 that we brought up. It wasn't about her. It was them.
It was them. You're right.
She does not escape unscathed.
I don't think anybody does, though. Like everybody can, whether or not you were like the perpetrator of the drama, you have experienced some of it.
Unless you just like stay in a cave and don't come out.
Unless you choose to not have friends. But like whether it's your friendships or your coworkers or like romantic relationships, it's like if you are interacting with others, like there's nobody where it just clicks along and is going super easy and wonderful. So we want to talk about why friendship in midlife feels so hard. Also, like fading friendships, I feel like that's kind of a hard part that I'm especially noticing at this age. Friendships that just kind of fade away and you're wondering, did something go wrong? Is it just, our lives not lining up? Another thing that I think is really fascinating is attachment styles in friendships.
Yes, absolutely.
And then finally, we're going to talk about adult mean girl behavior. And this is huge because you would think by this age, like it wouldn't be a thing anymore. But
I think that people have patterns that they follow in their lives and they don't just change.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, they grow up. I mean, some do because they recognize like, oh, I did that. That was really mean. I had a listener, she messaged and she has this crazy situation with her friend group. And so it was so like nuanced and detailed and had all sorts of like crazy different arms to it that I had to reach out to a professional. So I reached out to Dr. Noëlle Santorelli, and she's a clinical psychologist. She's like an adjunct faculty member at Emory Medical School. She is legit. And so
how did you find her?
So I found her on Instagram because she posts a lot of content about like adult relational aggression. So like mean girl, you know, mean moms, these weird social dynamics. So I'm going to talk to Dr. Santorelli, and she's going to give her take on what she thinks about the situation, what she sees, what she thinks our listeners should do. Because one of this listener was like, explain this crazy situation. And then she says, do I just ditch this friend group? Like, is there a way we can repair it? So anyway, stay tuned for that because it really is juicy.
Yeah,
so
I am excited because I did read the synopsis of the situation, and I'm really interested to hear what a professional says.
Let's look at friendships that are existing, that no big thing happened, but the friendships are kind of flatlining a little bit. Have you experienced anything like that where, you know, you guys are just busy and distance and life? Yeah. When you think of like how easy it was to make friends when you were a kid. I mean, like when you're childhood, like, you know, you're around your friends all the time. You're around them at school. You're out playing. Like, it's so easy to make friends. And then like,
well, even and kids see, like, they'll see kids playing on the playground and they're like, I'm going to go play with them. So they just run over and just start playing.
And so it's like so easy to make friends like that. And even when you're like in your, you know, after high school, like you're in college, you know, the people who are in your dorm or your apartment, there's always so much social and very little responsibility as far as like, oh, I need to do these things, you know, just to like make life go. And so like, you know, having your first, say 20 years of life like that, 20 years plus. And then when you're kind of in the midlife where it's like, oh, all we have time for is like, let's meet for coffee or let's meet for brunch or let's meet for dinner. And then your friendships, this is something I can definitely see, is like they shift into not necessarily like the friendships where you're building, it's like updates. And you're just having,
oh, for sure,
like these update style friendships, which is better than nothing. Like an update friendship is better than not spending time together at all. But what I think is like,
it's not building.
It's not building
relationship. It's maintaining, barely.
And it's like there's sometimes where that's like really all the bandwidth that you have or all the time that you have. But so Logan Ury, she is the director of relationship science at Hinge. And so we mentioned her earlier, I think on the first or second friendship episode.
I love that. I want to go into relationship science, like for friendship science. That's interesting. Maybe I don't. Maybe that would take too many numbers and analyzing of data.
Oh yeah, it would definitely be
Let's not
some
do that.
like.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. None of that. I heard her in another podcast and she said, we end up hearing about each other's lives, but we're not living them together. You know, we're not making any new memories. There's no additional substance to this. And it's like, okay, there are times where you're talking, you're like problem solving, or, you know, it's like you can have the heart to heart talks. But a lot of times when it's just the update sessions, that doesn't move the needle in your friendship at all. And so what she recommends is that if you're able to, instead of just saying, oh, we're going to meet for brunch, it's like, oh, let's do something together. Let's go to a place. You could go to a concert. You could just whatever's going to, you know, go to like a painting.
Go making more memories rather than just talking.
Do a thing. Do a thing rather than just talk. She gave all sorts of examples, but it was really it. That's something that I understood. Is okay, there are times, because I do have, like, I have one friend who I see probably about once a year because we don't live in the same city, and so occasionally she comes in on business, and what we do is we do a dinner and we talk, and that is great, but at the same time it's like we don't have any other memories to really prop up our talk, that it's just kind of like, okay, we've updated each other, love you, bye. You know what I mean? So how fun would it be if it's like, hey, I'm in town, let's go to a concert together, or let's do whatever. Like, oh, you wanna meet and we can do like a class together. It requires extra thought, but those things really push the needle in keeping those bonds together. What do you think?
I like that. And now I'm thinking of all the things I want to do with people. There's a place in Nashville called Play. It's not an arcade. It's like you go play games. I want to go there with friends and go play games.
Or you could say, let's go to a yoga class together, or like a pure barre class together. Or even like if the weather's nice, ride city scooters together. Do things like that.
I love the city scooters.
Like that's what builds
go
the
see
memories.
something new, or go to a museum.
But when you're thinking about friendships and friendships that kind of feel like they're flatlining or whatever, it makes me think of when have you felt loneliest in your friendships? Like, for example, I remember feeling super lonely, and this is not meant to make you feel bad in any way, but like when I left Utah and I moved to Indiana, I had left all of my friends and like, okay, I moved to this town where I had grown up and I had my parents and I had you. And, you know, there were assorted people that I kind of knew. It was this weird thing because I was like, oh, I kind of know people, but I don't feel attached to any new
Well, and
people.
then I remember you saying, like, I feel like all the friends I have are your friends who are just like, hey, Sarah's little sister.
And they were so sweet and wonderful. And really, some of those friends, I definitely...
It was a you thing, not a
It was a me
men
thing. Yeah, it wasn't anything on them. But, like, I felt just very insecure about, like, none of this is mine. This is all an extension of you.
Well, I think also, though, you were dealing with extra factors. You were living with your parents. Ben didn't have a job that he was hoping for. Like, there were a lot of factors where you did not feel grounded or comfortable in your life in any area, really.
Truly. And yeah, that's like a little snippet preview. You didn't even know it was coming. But an upcoming episode is feeling behind in life. And that was definitely, you know, an example of like feeling behind there affected how I related to friendships. And again, like you said, it was a me
You
thing.
didn't feel confident in yourself at that moment.
No, feeling so much on the inside, I wasn't really able to be the type of friend that I'd want to have.
Right.
Not that I was a monster, but I was like, I was just
No,
sad.
you
I was
just
in
didn't
the
feel-
feels.
You didn't feel like yourself. You didn't feel like your life was what you wanted at that moment. And it translated to how you viewed people around you.
Are there any moments that you have felt lonely in friendships?
Not really, because I generally just build a pretty quick social network. You've said this to me, like, Sarah, you make friends wherever you go. It's like, that's not something that I've struggled with.
Well, let's think about middle school, high school.
Okay, yes, that is true. It's like mom saying, it's not something I've ever had to deal with. No, for
Actually.
sure. Middle school, high school, I mean, things are shifting. I never felt like I had my person, because when I did feel like I had my person, they moved away, like twice in high school. So I didn't feel like I could truly be comfortable in friendships during that
You
time.
also had a little bit of mean girling happen. The people that you thought were your friends kind of did some, I remember
sure.
some shady things and made you, you know, feel like you were not on steady footing.
Well, and that even goes back to, like, I was a competitive gymnast. I mean, you know this, growing up. The girls were mean. They were mean. They were catty. They made me feel uncertain about whether I was in or out. I attribute some of that to my not feeling like I was truly part of something.
With that situation, was there kind of a queen bee? Was there a ringleader, or were there multiple?
I remember there
girls?
being a queen bee. I remember there being a queen bee. Her name was Tracy.
So there was a queen bee, and
Yeah.
this goes perfectly into what we're going to talk about in a little bit.
And it's like, you never knew whether the thing she was saying was genuine or like a compliment or a criticism. Do you know what I mean? Like, people
You're
say
like,
things and
that was
you...
great.
Right.
And the thing is, it's like you never want to be the villain in somebody else's story, right? Like, my idea of thinking like, oh, you know, have I ever been a mean girl? Like, oh, never intentionally. Oh, but like, yeah, where have you unintentionally? And it's like, yeah, you can't like comb through every little social interaction. But like, in thinking about this episode, I realized there was one situation in high school where I was a jerk. And I'm thinking like, is there a way I can make it right now? Like, I remember I was a sophomore in high school and I was doing cheer, and there was all of us who had done cheer together the previous year. One girl left the squad and then one new girl joined. And we were not welcoming to that girl. I don't think we were ever mean, but we definitely did not have her in as like an equal party. She was definitely an outsider, and she did not do cheer the next year. And I feel so bad because in her eyes, we were probably the monsters. We were probably the mean girls. And like thinking about that, it's like, oh my gosh, how do I track down this girl? Because we're not even like Facebook friends or anything. But at the time, I didn't.
Yeah, you want to go back and be
realize.
like, I'm so sorry.
Like, we should have included you equally. And just because you were not with us the previous year, it's just like, ugh. But anyway, let's shift a little bit. Like, okay, when we're talking about fading friendships, it's like, okay, everybody's life is so busy. And sometimes it feels like it's too busy to like really nourish a friendship, right? I mean, there are sometimes in our lives where it's like, oh, we're able to barely, essentially when you're thinking of friendship as like a plant, like barely keep a cactus alive with the amount of care, you know?
Yeah.
And then there are other times where we do have bandwidth.
You think about watering a cactus.
Yeah.
But that doesn't actually do it.
There are a lot of factors. When I had little kids, when my kids are really little, it was so hard to get out. And now my kids are older, so it's not quite as tricky, but there are a lot of people who have multiple kids. Their jobs are really a lot for them. Or like if they're married, you know, whatever, like there are a lot of factors that are probably draining them. So I have a good friend that I haven't seen in so long, even though we live extremely close to each other. And I sent her a voice memo yesterday because I was just like, I miss you. I know you're crazy busy.
Oh, that's so nice.
She has her own business. Her husband has his stuff. Then they have 3 kids who are in extremely like time intensive competitive sports. She is never home. And so I was like, can I like book time on your work calendar? Like, I miss you.
Aww.
I want to see you. And so whether or not, like, I don't have to, you know, literally book time on our work calendar, but it's like there are times where there's this, like, her season in life is not conducive to a lot of friend nourishment right now because all the other things in her life are just taking a lot of time. It won't be that way forever, but that's how it is right now. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
nice. It's nice that you sent her a little like, hey, you're important to me memo.
Well, and I think like what can we, because we're all in crazy stages. Like I know when you start your program and you're doing clinicals and like your life belongs to work, there will be ways that like, okay, how can we help even when our lives are crazy, like nourish our friendships? What do you think?
I don't know. I think definitely that was really nice to just send that voice memo.
I love a voice memo. I feel like a voice memo is easier than a text. It is more of me than just like a laugh emoji or whatever. So not everybody loves a voice note, but I sure do.
They automatically disappear, which is weird.
You can save them. You just have to save it within like 2 minutes. One thing that I really appreciate, this is another like technology win, is I don't know about Androids, but with like the iPhone, you can do the text, like the send later function. So if it's like 11 o'clock, if I'm going to bed and I'm thinking like, oh, what's going on with so-and-so? I want to let them know that I'm thinking about them, but you know, I don't want to be rude and send a text too late or first thing in the morning. Like I don't want to send the 6 a.m. text. You can do the send later where it can be like, oh, I'm thinking about you now, but I'm going to send this at noon tomorrow.
I did not know that existed.
Yeah, it does. I think it's a fairly new function, but it's actually really helpful because there are times where it just pops in your brain and you can be like, okay, I'll do that. And I feel like for me, it's like, I just want my friends, when I don't have the time available, there are ways where it's like, okay, I can let them know that they're important to me. I mean, everybody shows up differently as a friend. Like I have a friend that, you know, when things are hard, I mean, she's on my doorstep with dinner. People show up differently and there's not one correct way to be a friend, but I feel like this is a fairly like low stakes effort, but has a high emotional return. Even if you say like, okay, on Sunday, like every day when once a week, I can do like 5 send later texts and that can like send to friends when I have a moment, or just do it all at once. I don't know. I just feel like that idea of like, you can kind of optimize your life a little bit in a way that really helps friendships.
Those are great.
Thank you.
Those are great. So it's very easy to do the Facebook birthday, like happy birthday, because it auto-populates.
Even puts it in for you. And sometimes
it says weird stuff. Sometimes it is stupid stuff. It's like, have a great birthday, period.
There are times where it's like, oh, I'm going to say something happy.
Period.
Yeah. Like, enjoy your day. Like, it is your birthday.
It is your birthday.
Do better, Facebook.
But I like to try, and I'm not good at this, but I would like to do better, to actually send them a personal text on their birthday. Or a phone call. Sometimes phone calls can be weird, though. I mean, not that the phone call itself. Yes, a voice note. That's almost like a phone call. But it's not.
Justice for voice notes.
Okay.
Bring back voice notes. Bring back. Just bring. Bring the voice notes. Bring the voice notes, people.
Okay. Well, have you ever sent me a voice note?
Guess not.
You generally, but you'll just call when you.
Yeah. For you, I feel like I can be invasive because sometimes a phone call does feel a little aggressive to be like, hey, I'm doing this right now. But a voice note, it is like step lower. I can be aggressive with you, but I'm not going to be aggressive with people who are,
well, and for me and you, we can just call each other and be like, hey, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Like, you don't do that to just everyone.
Absolutely not. Because they'd be like,
what are you doing?
Is everything okay? Yeah.
What is the purpose of this phone call?
And everyone listening, they're like, they get it. We don't have to explain ourselves. What were you saying? So a personal text on their birthday, not the stupid Facebook ones.
Remembering, and this is hard, like remembering when an important date is for them. Mm-hmm. Like if there's an anniversary of something, just letting them know that you're thinking about them. Mm-hmm. Putting it in your phone. This is when your divorce happens. As an annual reminder. Remind them because it's like the things that happen in your life. Wait a second, though. You said this is when their divorce happened. Like, remember a year ago when this happened to you?
Did you forget? Just wanted to remind you that this is the day your life imploded.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. I think it's different. Just basically sending, they'll remember what the day is. Yeah. You don't have to say, remember when you got divorced?
Remember your pet died? That was really sad.
You don't even necessarily have to bring it up. You can just be like, hey, just thinking of you.
Yeah, like, you're important to me. I love you. Thinking of you.
I think it would be fun if it became a thing to just send the most random weird emoji to people. Like, when do I have the occasion to send the flamingo emoji? Like, why can't we make it a thing like, it's like, I'm thinking of you. I'm sending the dragon. Here, I'm going to send you one right now.
Okay, I'm so excited.
Let's see. See? It's so fun to just like see what's going to come up. Now there's pressure.
Make it a good one.
Well, I can't promise it was a good one.
Like, why would I send this one to anybody? And why is it an emoji? So there's, say, 1,000 emojis. There's some really weird ones. And I'm like, how did this make the cut? And there's no that.
Something else. Here we go. Here's another one.
Oh my gosh, I just sent it to Ben on accident. He's probably... I just sent Ben the emoji.
Wait, don't tell him. Don't tell him. Oh my gosh. Is that a mosquito? That's horrible.
He just sent
That's horrible.
From the upstairs. He says, I don't know what that means. I'm old. Did you forget?
Oh my gosh. You could say, think about what you did.
Oh my gosh. I'll tell him. I'll say, you know what you did. Okay. We got to get this train back on the tracks.
Okay.
Oh, question. So one person asked, this is a listener conundrum. How do I reconnect with a friend who keeps saying that she's busy, but she still has time for other people? Like, oh, this friend's always so busy. That's a tough one because part of me is like, goes into the he's just not that into you. Like, I'm spending time with people who I want to, or whatever bullcrap text that you got.
Yep.
You're not one of them.
You're not one of them. Whether that was implied or not, I don't know. But part of it is like kind of accepting this person might not have room for me right now. And instead of continuing to chase, just kind of be like, okay, what is it? If they wanted to,
they would. Yeah, if they wanted to, they would.
That's not always 100%. Sometimes it's that other people have made the plan and made it very easy for that person to show up to it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, somebody else made this happen. You don't know all the backstory. Or it could be this was planned 2 months ago,
Right.
And so, yeah, they've got no bandwidth now, but hey, they bought these tickets to whatever. And it's not like they just sprang it on them and it was just like, hey, you free Friday night? Oh, yeah, me. Yeah, sure. So, yeah, but that's tough because it is hurtful. That's why I'm always so hesitant to, this is not necessarily post pictures of anything. I rarely post pictures of any party, group outing, group anything, because it's like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want anyone to feel excluded. There's always so many different dynamics. Have you heard of the 11-3-6 rule for friendships?
Sounds like a weird...
When you're thinking of a new friendship that you're trying to build, 11-3-6. So when you're the 11-3-6 rule for building adult friendships, typically, this is like a scientific study, okay? So 11 interactions. You will interact with a person 11 times before it feels like friendship. Let me say that again. You will interact 11 times before it feels like friendship, which is a lot, right?
That is a lot, because I meet somebody and like within the first meeting, it's like, okay, we're friends now.
Well, and maybe you're just on one end of the spectrum, but it's like maybe when they studied lots and lots of people.
Yes. And I mean, that's not true friendship. That's just like, hey, there's a connection.
Them. Yeah. The 11 is 11 interactions before it feels like friendship. The 3 is 3 months of consistency to build trust. You know, you have an extended period where it's like, okay, you like this person, you're seeing them in different ways. It's like you don't just, as an adult, this is different for kids, because kids, you can just like look at them and, you know, be friends. But the 3 months of consistency to build, like, you trust this person. It's not just that I like them, but I also trust them. And then 6 deep connections for lasting well-being and that friendship. So it's like you need consistency in this friendship, not just chemistry that like creates the actual connection.
That's
that is
true.
A lot of
There's
alliteration.
a lot of, I guess what I easily get is friend potential.
Yes.
That's different.
The FP.
Because you can have a lot of connections with people that are friend potential. But then to truly call someone a friend, where's that line? Like someone you would call if something terrible happened?
Or if you needed help, or even it's like, hey, I want to see this movie. You want to come? Like a one-on-one where you'd invite them to a thing. Which, again, when we're younger, it's so much easier to make those connections because you're in the same stage of life. There's a whole lot of like different factors where you can easily jump into that friendship. But when it's like, okay, 11 interactions. Because I even asked my son, like, oh, there are kids in, you know, that you see in school, like, do you want to have them over? Do you want to go out and hang with them? And he's like, no, they're not that type of friends. You know, as an adult, same. There are lots of people that we meet, but the 11 interactions, the 3 months of consistency of seeing them in different things, and then the 6 deep connections. Those are like the real
I want more
out.
information on what the deep connections are.
Yeah, I don't think it's referring to like trauma bonding, because how many traumatic things do you have happen? Hopefully not 6 in a 3-month period or whatever.
I don't know.
And I don't think it's like, okay, it has to be, this is the magic number. Like if you don't have 6, but I think it's like, okay, they did whatever study. But I felt like it was really helpful to be like, okay, so none of these are fast things. It's not you meet your one friend and it's like this magical, like, Another thing that I thought of when I was thinking about like, okay, friendships that like aren't necessarily coming easy. So when I first moved to Tennessee 6 years ago, one of the very first people I met, I had that FP, the friend potential. I met her and I was like, oh, I've got a good vibe. She's got a great personality. We're going to be fast friends. Okay. And I was kind of waiting a little bit to be like, oh, are we going to hang out? Like every time I'd see her, I'd, kind of cast the feelers out of like, oh yeah, we should get together, we should do something, whatever. Like I'm new. And it was never really reciprocated. And I thought that's strange, because when we talk, like we definitely vibe, but like why? And then what I realized a while later, probably like 2 years later, is at that time she was going through major emotional, personal things. Like there were things going on in her little world, in her little bubble, where it's like she was not building new friendships beyond surface level, was like not on the table for her. And then even more realizing, 6 years later, she's not so much a one-on-one friend girl. She is a group hang type of girl, and that's just how she is, and that's fine. But like realizing it wasn't me. It's not like, oh, she don't want to be my friend. It's like, oh, she had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, definitely it wasn't you at all. That's a good realization.
Yeah, and I think that's helpful for me to not feel bad about like, oh, I hoped this friendship would be one way and it's actually a different way.
Yeah.
So do you remember Anne of Green Gables?
Yes, I do.
I loved that. I don't know if I read the book, but I remember seeing the
movie,
miniseries, whatever it was.
Yeah, miniseries. With Megan Follows.
Is that her name? Megan?
Megan is the actress's name.
And then Gilbert Blythe was just so handsome. But she meets Diana, and like they become, what do they call them?
Bosom friends.
Bosom friends. There's another word that she used. Kindred spirits.
Okay.
They were bosom friends. They were kindred spirits. And it was just like, you didn't have to even say it. Like, this is just a person that gets you, knows your soul. I feel like Anne of Green Gables set me up to think that I was going to find my Diana.
Bosom friend.
I was going to find my bosom friend. I was going to find my kindred spirit. And I feel like as an adult, there are some friends who I do feel like are kindred spirits. I do have a few of them, and I'm really grateful for that. But I feel like as an adult, having friends that's the type that's like, oh, I know what you're thinking without even saying, like, that is so rare. And the fact that if somebody doesn't have that, that's not something to like mourn over, you know?
I agree. Well, and even like in my world of roller derby, they have like derby wives, which is basically like your best derby friend.
Okay.
I didn't have one, really. Maybe because I didn't rely on those connections for the emotional friendship support. It's hard to find that, but to expect it and then always be kind of waiting for it. It's kind of sad.
To wait for your kindred spirit. It's like, oh, there's something wrong if I don't have my kindred spirit, my bosom friend. Well, I feel
it's almost like your soulmate it's like a soulmate that you're waiting for in a non-romantic way.
And you might get those and you might not. And it's like, if you don't, it's not that you're doing it wrong. So one thing that I've noticed and that I learned about, I read this article. It was an Elle magazine article. I can't remember what it's called. I'll find it. I'll link it in the show notes. But it talked about friendships struggling because of a friend's attachment style. Are you familiar with attachment style?
A little bit. I know there's avoidant. I know there's anxious. I know there's
secure.
A couple more. Secure.
Yeah, so secure.
How do we get there?
When you're talking about attachment styles, it describes how you emotionally connect, communicate, and respond to closeness or distance in your relationships. So this is your friends, this is romantic relationships, it's like any type of connection with somebody. And so someone with secure attachment style, they trust the friendship even through like space or conflict. So these people are the ones that feel comfortable in friendships. They trust that their friends care about them while they're close and also when they're not close. So like their core belief is we're good even though we don't talk every day. You know, they're not the ones that are needing that like constant reassurance.
Validation.
Like, yes, you're my friend. You're, you know, here's proof that we're friends. And then there's anxious attachment. So anxious attachment, they crave reassurance and they fear disconnection. So like they worry that a friend pulling back means something's wrong or they've done something to upset them. And they give a lot. They're always checking in, making plans, staying emotionally invested. But they can also feel hurt or rejected when that energy isn't reciprocated. So like we've all had friends who like kind of seem like kind of a needy friend, right? Where it's like, oh, they always need to hang out or they always need to text. They always need to like, I remember one of my close friends growing up definitely had this anxious attachment because when she would see me or hear of me being friends with other people, it would make her feel threatened, like our friendship. And so, you know, with anxious attachment, when things feel distant, they like overthink and they try harder or they kind of make make it known that it's like, do you not value our friendship? So their core belief is if you don't show up for me, then maybe you don't care.
It's tricky though. It's tricky. There've been friends just along the way that it's like, oh, you feel a little needy. But then also, where's the line between needy and just showing someone like, hey, you're important to me? It's a fine line.
That's a fine, and I think that's, you know, the person who is maybe acting needy, that's something, a question that they can only answer that themselves. Right?
Yeah.
Because there are friends that are just naturally higher communicators and they have the desire for more hang. Does that mean that they're necessarily an anxious attachment? Like, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
But also you have to realize if they're a secure attachment, like they won't mind that your answer is like, oh, I can't hang right now. Or, you know, I've got X, Y, and Z on my plate. What about, avoidant attachment. So the third one, avoidant attachment style, is the people who they value independence and they can feel overwhelmed by too much closeness or emotional intensity. They might care really deeply about their friends, but they prefer to keep all of their interactions kind of light and surfacey. When a friendship feels too demanding or emotional, they like pull away to regain their space or really like their control. And so avoidant friends, they show their love through actions, which is like helping out or giving advice rather than long emotional talks. Their core belief, it's like they feel safest when they rely on themselves. Kind of lone wolf. A little lone wolf behavior.
I also see it as I'll reject you before you reject me. I feel like maybe in a more extreme avoidant, it's a defensive thing.
And like researchers, they see that like for whatever reason, anxious attachment and avoidant attachment, like those two are like moth to a flame. Like they really,
I feel like that's
Sarah,
what my marriage was.
that was your marriage. You were the anxious. He was the avoidant.
Uh-huh.
When an anxious friend pairs with an avoidant friend, like the tension often it shows up, right? And so because one person wants reassurance, the other wants space, and then they're both ending up feeling misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like understanding your attachment style, or like not yours, but just understanding your own personal attachment style, it'll help you see your patterns. And like if there's some work that needs to be done, like you see like, oh, I am an anxious attachment or I am avoidant attachment, like you can do some work and probably like a therapist can help you, or you can figure out ways to kind of get off of that track that feels so exhausting to you.
And I think you can have a relationship style and a friendship style that are not the same. Like I can have
Absolutely.
a secure like friendship attachment and an anxious relationship attachment.
Yeah. This is what the article says. It says, it's not a personal failing to be anxious or avoidant. No one is just their attachment style. You're not bad at friendship. You're not messing up. It's not that simple. Our attachment styles are formed based on what our caregivers gave us as children. So understandably, we're drawn to people who are mimicking what those caregivers gave us. So that's curious because it's like we were in the same household.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like I operate on more of a secure attachment style, but I guess with your marriage, it just kind of morphed into that. And I think there's more than just like, oh, this is what mom or dad did, but like kind of the sum of all of our experiences.
There's a lot. Oh, mom likes to say that you were born with emotional armor. And I did not. I was not. I just am more sensitive to things.
Just
like,
the social, just anything kind of relational. Yeah. So it says it's important for people who have differing attachment styles. That can be the reason why a friendship might look good on paper, but like in actuality doesn't really work. And it says having the knowledge of our own and our friends' attachment styles and a willing to understand each other, it gives you a better shot at like giving you the happy ending that you want, whether it's romantic relationship or friendship. When you have a friend who has an anxious attachment and you want to be their friend, you want to be there for them, but you're also like, girl, you gotta
it actually
chill.
kind of makes you more avoidant
Because you're just like, ooh.
when they're pushing, you're pulling back.
Yeah. And that's not what you want to do. Like what I saw and what I read is like, okay, this is the time you kind of need to reassure them, but also be direct that it's like, hey, we're good. Like give them, but also say like, hey, when you do this, I might be feeling this way.
Yeah.
Just like,
I have a friend that we now rarely talk. And I used to think it was me. I used to think, oh, do you not want to be my friend anymore? And one time I even asked like, hey, like, you know, I've texted you like 7 or 8 times now and haven't heard a response. So did I do something? Is it me? And she did respond and was like, it's never you. It's never you. I love you. Like sometimes I just hibernate for a while. And so in that friendship, like I love her. If she needs me, I'm there. But she doesn't apparently need for me like the daily or even the monthly or even the yearly, like, you know, reconnections. And I'm okay with that as long as I know that it's not me.
well, and I feel like you asking that question in a way that was like a neutral way, not a confrontational way, but like, hey, is everything okay? Is there something that happened? Like now you know whether, you know, and it didn't have to go into a friendship territory of like, oh, I guess we're fading out. I guess our friendship is over. It's like, oh no, this person is just kind of like a friendship cactus in that like they have this bandwidth or they have this personal need.
Well, they have their own life and we live in different cities. So it's okay. I love her. If she needs me, she'll reach out and that's okay.
Nice.
Because I'm not relying on that as my emotional support. I think when you only have a couple really, really good friends, it is scary when one of them would pull away.
When you lose one of your 3 friends, that's a huge void in your life.
Yeah. I think having a wider social network and feeling valued in different ways. Like I am valued as a sister. I'm valued as a teammate. I'm valued as a girlfriend. I'm valued as a mom. But like, you know, there are other people that don't, I guess, fit into any of those categories that I still feel valued in. But if you put all your eggs in one friendship basket or two, that's a lot of risk.
I'm thinking of, you know, the game, like, what is the game where you've got all the marbles and then you've got all the little sticks that like hold up the marbles?
Oh,
whatever that
what is
game
that called? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, okay. This is like if you're a child of the 80s or 90s, you know this game. So it's like, okay, you have all these different types of connections with people. So that, yeah, the marbles aren't going to fall. Like your self-worth is not going to depend on one person or another person or another person. And so like if one person kind of withdraws or like for whatever reason, if your friendship kind of fades, it's not going to be like catastrophic to your life.
Right. Right.
How's that?
That's
for
a good analogy.
metaphor?
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
I thought of that one on the fly.
But I mean, does that discount important friendships? Does that mean that, I don't know, like that's a conversation that we could have. Like, am I not going deep enough with certain friendships to avoid the pressure or the risk? I don't know. Possibly.
Let's talk about adult mean girls and like mom group dynamics. So truly, I feel like, you know, obviously we think at this age we should be over this, right? But my dear friend Taylor Swift, she just put a song. Have you listened to her new album?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so the song Actually Romantic. Do you know that song? It's the one where
she's
so
like,
Taylor
oh,
is
it's so
talking,
romantic.
like, oh,
that you
you're
think
leaving
about
me
me
these
so
funny
much.
Valentines. Yeah, so it's, you know, allegedly Taylor Swift kind of responded to Charlie XCX, who Charlie, I guess, has some issues with Taylor Swift.
I didn't know who it was about.
Yeah,
I don't know the lore.
Apparently, and see, I'm not a huge Charlie XCX person. The only song I know is Boom Clap. I guess she wrote a song. Boom Clap. Boom Clap.
I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I guess she probably doesn't pronounce it Boom Clap. But so she had a song that she released, and it was basically talking about like she doesn't know why, but she just can't stand Taylor Swift. She didn't name Taylor Swift, but like people connected those dots. Okay, so this is kind of a response, if you will, and I think one of them was like, "I heard you call me boring Barbie.
Okay.
When the Cokes got you brave."
Ooh.
Yeah. You told my ex that you're happy that he ghosted me, you know, like things like that. And so it's a very much specific because Charlie XCX is married to one of Maddie Healy's bandmates from the 1975. So it's like, you do a little deep dive on this. Go on the TikTok. You'll find something.
Okay. I don't do TikTok.
I know, me either. But that's one thing. It's like you can search for it and you'll find whatever person's like interpretation. But basically, you know, calling out, and she's like, oh, it's actually sweet the way that you're obsessed with me. No man's loved me like you do. And anyway, so it was just kind of a little bit of that mean girl. And I was like, oh, Taylor, because she's got those high school songs about why are you so mean? But now there's one where she's in her mid 30s and just like, they're still the mean girls, right? So we had a listener sent a message to the Found at 40 Instagram with a crazy friendship situation. I am going to give you like the brass tacks of this, okay? A group of women who originally met through the PTA have become divided due to an ongoing drama centered around this self-appointed queen bee. The listener describes how this queen bee, aka Regina George, has slowly gained control of the group, creating tension and exclusion, particularly targeting her former best friend, known here as Gretchen Wieners, and now others, including our listener. So here's just some background information. So these women first met through PTA conventions where parents from different schools gathered and connected. From there, they formed a social group that started with bunco nights and craft gatherings. The women's ages range from late 30s to early 50s, and their kids' ages range from toddlers to adults. After years of tension, the queen bee began manipulating the group dynamics, deciding who was in or out. One woman, I'll call her Karen Smith, who used to feel ignored, suddenly received a lavish birthday celebration from the queen bee, making people wonder what was going on. So this listener discovered that she'd been excluded from a new group chat and events coordinated by the queen bee and her new second in command. When confronted, the new BFF lied about who started the chat. Gretchen Wieners, who now is on the outs, called out the exclusion publicly, but the queen bee's defenders, including her new BFF, attacked her for causing drama. So this queen bee then began reaching out to the other women that she really used to ignore, winning new allies and isolating the people that she saw as disloyal, including Gretchen Wieners, former BFF, and our dear Found at 40 listener. So here are some recent developments. It has since come to light that this queen bee believes that she controls who stays or goes in the group. However, other members are beginning to question this behavior. One member of the group recently confronted others, asking if they're truly okay with the queen bee deciding the group's dynamics. She even challenged the new second in command's inconsistencies, noting how this new number 2 complains about the queen bee but continues to vacation with her and even get matching tattoos. So this confrontation revealed cracks in the queen bee's control, exposing how fear and loyalty keep the group compliant despite the growing discomfort. Holy moly. So here is our listener's dilemma. This girlfriend is at a crossroads. She is uncertain how to handle this situation moving forward. Should she go along with things, staying quiet and just accept that certain people will continue to be excluded? Should she participate only when she's invited, even though she knows she's being left out at other gatherings? Or should she step away from the group altogether, recognizing that a circle willing to repeatedly exclude others may not be worth even remaining in? It's just a really weird situation. I'm talking to a real life expert. So Dr. Noëlle Santorelli, she is a clinical psychologist, adjunct faculty at Emory School of Medicine. I am going to talk to her about this because I feel like this is where you need to bring in the big guns. Like this is a weird web. But really, I feel like it's relatable in a lot of ways because how many times, either if you haven't experienced this yourself, like you kind of know, you've seen it. You've seen weird social situations among adult women.
Even with like neighbors, like one neighbor invites these people over and then she stops inviting this one and only, like I can see it play out.
Why was I on the inside at this point, but now I'm not on the inside? Like there's a lot of different like factors and nuance to it. So knowing what you know, I mean, what is your knee-jerk reaction of like, what would you do if you were the listener who messaged about this?
I would think, who do I like more? And I think that Gretchen Wieners should gather the people who'd been rejected and have her own group and have their own group text and meet for coffee and start going to spin classes together.
I was thinking along the same things. Like you create your own group chat.
You make
and exclude Queen Bee.
You decide, I don't want to be friends with somebody who is that not necessarily unstable, but just like likes to play with their power. Like we're just going to reject them.
But this is my question is, will the people who are currently on the good side of Regina George, they'll be kind of hesitant to burn that bridge. They'll be I don't want to go to so-and-so's thing because if she's trying, not that she's trying to like stage a coup, if it doesn't have Queen Bee's blessing, I'm not going to do it.
Right. And that's okay. You can invite everyone and the people who come.
Well, let's see what Dr. Santorelli says. So, Dr. Santorelli, I have sent you kind of the brief of this really tough, tricky situation. There are a lot of things to look at. There are a lot of different dynamics and factors at play. From kind of first glance, what is it that you're seeing?
So from first glance, what I saw was what I like to call the mean girl mom cycle. What that is, after working for so many years with dysfunctional family systems, I started to notice the same type of system could be at play in any group. Work groups, mom groups, sports team groups. And what it is it's a 4-pronged cycle that starts with love bombing. And what it is it sort of duplicates, or it is sort of like the image of what we see in narcissistic family systems.
That's what I was just wondering.
Yes, so it's the system that I would see in narcissistic families or in narcissistic relationships. That same exact pattern can happen in larger groups. So of course it can happen one-on-one in a romantic relationship. It can happen in a family system with a narcissistic mother or narcissistic father, and then the children, and then the bigger family. But it can also happen within friend groups. And so when I first read all the different moving pieces of the brief you sent me, my first thought was, I wonder if this is that cycle that this person is feeling stuck in and has been stuck in potentially for years, because it looks like this was a very long.
Yeah, they've been friends for years, this big PTA group. Yeah. So you're saying you think the queen bee has kind of the narcissistic cycle, that cycle going on?
Right. So while obviously I wouldn't couldn't be able to say, okay, that person is dealing with narcissism. Every human being has some degree of narcissism within us. We all are narcissistic to some extent, right? It's part of natural personality. We have narcissistic traits or elements, all of us within us. But it's not that she's narcissistic, but she's running a narcissistic cycle. And so what it looks like, what it can start to look like, is it starts off with love bombing, which is sort of lots of attention, lots of invites, lots of we want you, welcome, let's do everything together. Let's get our kids together. Let's have Easter together. Let's have Halloween together, right? It's lots and lots of attention, and you feel really enveloped and really ingratiated with the rest of the group. That's the beginning.
You feel like I found my new best friend.
Yes, and it's like my new family almost, right? Like it feels so holding, and it feels really good because you feel like you really belong. So that's phase 1. Now that phase can last a week, a month. It can last 3 or 4 years. And when we're talking about a group, each person might go through the phase or the cycle at different times when it's being run by someone like a queen bee who has more tendencies to want to dominate and control. So it starts out with the love bombing phase. Next comes the exclusion or devaluing phase. So remember, this is a cycle from narcissistic literature. I'm just applying it to a friend group dynamic. So then you suddenly start to feel distance, or you suddenly start to feel subtle digs, or the energy kind of shifts. So you've left this love bombing phase, and then suddenly you're like, the energy feels different. I don't feel as welcome, or I don't feel as accepted, or I don't feel as in as I once was before. Behind the scenes, there's a person or multiple people that are starting to devalue you within the system.
Now, why is that?
It's dominance and control. And it can be, big picture, it's dominance and control, wanting to control the group. It can be little things like they didn't like how you showed up at the last event, or they didn't like that you're bringing new people into the group, or they don't like that you have another friend group outside. It can be for any particular reason. And what's hard is usually it's like not a big, like obvious reason. It's something small that for whatever reason triggered the queen bee or the head of the group, the person running the show.
Okay. It wouldn't be like, oh, you broke some cardinal rule. It's kind of in the head of the queen bee as like, they did something. They broke some unspoken rule in the head of the queen bee.
Exactly. Because if it was more of like a cardinal rule, that's when you kind of know. You're like, ooh, I messed up.
Yeah, like I said something super rude. I insulted somebody. I showed up in some very inappropriate way. When it's these subtle things that you're thinking, it couldn't have been that.
That's when you start second guessing yourself. And that's when you start almost, I call it like self-gaslighting. That's when you're like, no, I'm being dramatic. Everything's the same. I'm just being sensitive. Or you're like, no, they can't be on another group chat without me, which I think was one of the things that happened. And
yes, like somebody was like, oh, are you not on that chat? And they realized they weren't. And
then you overthink it and you're like, well, why? And is it because of what I said at book club, or and you start sort of playing tricks on yourself to try to figure out what is it? This would be so much easier if there was something obvious.
Yeah, and that because you feel like a crazy person because you think, I am in my 40s. Like, these are middle school shenanigans. How do I feel
exactly
now?
Then comes the discard phase in this narcissistic cycle. So phase 3 is the discard phase, and that's when you're iced out, pushed out, left off specific chats, not included at certain events. You're starting to be discarded and eliminated. The discard phase, there was someone
who was best friend of Queen Bee.
Yes, she called out the exclusion publicly and was told she was causing drama. That's more of an obvious assault to the group rules, is calling out the obvious. So she was then being discarded, iced out, sort of pushed aside, or even publicly labeled as the problem. That's the discard phase. The final one that is sometimes there is the hoovering, like a vacuum, the hoovering phase. That's when the queen bee or one of the the higher ups in the group starts to realize the person has left the group and is maybe getting comfortable with it, is maybe accepting it, and they may suddenly pop back in and say, hey, do you want to get lunch?
We miss you.
Yes. Or like, where have you been?
Gosh.
You know,
and it's like, you know where I've been.
You know exactly where I've been, and you know exactly what I just went through emotionally trying to figure this all out. That doesn't always happen. That sometimes happens. And that can be...
Okay, and when that happens, that's when the cycle just...
Then it starts again. So they bring you back in, and it could be because you're needed, or like there's a utility in bringing you back. So maybe you were the one who always organized the fall festival, and so the group decides, we don't really want to do this, let's bring her back. Now, that's not necessarily spoken, so the group doesn't get together and say, should we bring her back? Sometimes it is literally just the queen bee person thinking, I'm going to reach out, or I don't like this distance, it doesn't feel comfortable to me, I want control back. Because again, at the end of the day,
when the person's gone, the control's gone.
That's right.
Really.
At the end of the day, it's all about control and dominating a group dynamic. And it's really all actually based in that own person's insecurity, who has to...
The queen bee's
insecurity. Yes, and that's relational aggression, right? So I talk all about relational aggression. This is relational aggression. It's using relationships instead of direct communication to manipulate and control group dynamics and other people's perception of you and their relationship with you.
So knowing what we know, knowing kind of the facts that we know, I mean, what would you recommend to the listener who is going through this? This is her life. I mean, she has the questions of, what does it say about the women who are just going along with this cycle? Should she just cut her losses and say, you know, none of you are for me? Or should she be like, two can play at this game, I'm going to try to exclude queen bee and see what happens?
Right. So one of the other things that it's important to understand if we're looking at a narcissistic cycle is something called supply. And again, I'm not labeling this person as narcissistic, but this is about a pattern of behavior. So your listener has to consider how much of a supply she's willing to be in this system. So supply is like the attention, admiration, the food supply, but it's energy supply that a person provides a narcissistic person or someone who's in a narcissistic pattern. And so your listener has to think about, how comfortable am I continuing to be a part of this supply chain, basically?
Yeah.
Right? And
wow,
there's no right or wrong answer. Unfortunately, there really isn't, and that's what's so complicated about this. I always tell people you have to think about yourself and the season of life that you're in. You might be in a season of life where even those few events, because I think one of the questions is, okay, she can almost completely stay quiet, right? And like not just be happy with what she is invited to. Like just go along.
Yeah, take what is thrown her way. And just learn to make peace with the exclusions that are there too.
And just sort of accept it and accept that certain people will stay quiet and will allow her to still be excluded. If she's in a phase of her life where maybe she doesn't have any other friends, or she doesn't have any other groups that she's a part of, or she's going through a particularly tricky time in her own family, maybe she doesn't have the bandwidth to fight against that. Maybe she needs, in this stage in her life, even that small amount of connection or the breadcrumbs really that she's being given. She might say, I need that for my own emotional wellness because I don't have any other resources.
Okay.
That for me would probably not be my path.
But for some that might be
enough. Or, that might be fine. Or for in her season of life, if she understands what's happening, and she's like, okay, big picture, here's what's going on. But at this stage in my life where I am emotionally, mentally, with my bandwidth, I'm okay with it. I know what's happening. I'm not internalizing it. I know it's part of a system that's going on. I enjoy the other women enough, or I enjoy our get-togethers enough that it feeds me enough that I can tolerate it for now and see where this goes.
She can roll her eyes and not let it eat away at her.
And say, I'm going to enjoy going to the events that I'm invited to and socializing with the people at the event that do bring me joy or happiness or satisfaction, right? So that's one option. Another option, if she has more emotional bandwidth, would be to obviously start speaking up and talking more about what is happening.
To the other members or to Queen Bee?
Probably to the other members, possibly to Queen Bee. Now, the way that I frame this decision-making process is in any interpersonal interaction, anytime we're interacting interpersonally with someone else, we want to think about 3 different components that are at play. So we have our objective, which is what do we want? We have the relationships. How do I want the other person or people to feel about me when this is over? And the third thing is self-respect. How do I want to feel about me when this is over?
Yeah.
And this is in every single interaction. We don't think about it because we do it naturally, but when things get complicated like this, it's a really good framework to fall back on. So if her objective is more about self-respect, she's going to prioritize that. And that might mean she says to the group, I don't like the way things have been going. I feel like there's been some shifts in energy, shifts in who's out, and things don't feel the same to me. I'm not comfortable. Can we talk about it? Now, if she prioritizes self-respect, that means relationships drop down a notch. There will be some people that do not like that.
Feathers are going to get ruffled.
Absolutely.
People are going to, especially Queen Bee, who is all about control. If she tries to take some of the control of what's happening in this group, Queen Bee's not going to like it.
Not at all.
But you have to kind of decide what is the priority.
Exactly.
Keeping the peace, keeping the status quo, or speaking up.
And at different stages and phases of your life, it's okay to flex those. It's okay if you're like, you know what? Right now, I feel a little more fragile, or emotionally, I need these relationships or some of the relationships. I'm going to prioritize the relationships, and I'm going to just show up and take what is given to me in this moment. That's a choice.
And even having the perspective of, this is not going to be my friend group forever. Right now, since of the proximity, our kids are all in the same stage of life. Yes, this makes sense, but these are not the people who are going to be my people when I'm, an empty nester, when my kids have left the house. I mean, it's hard to kind of play the long game, but also keeping the perspective of, I will find different friends. These are not the only friends I'm going to have in my entire life.
Right. And so definitely putting it within a framework of what's happening. When I would think that that's more risky is if you don't have an understanding of sort of the system, or that you're part of something that's going on, when you start to think it's just because it's you. So if you show up and you're like, I'll just take what they give me because I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough, or I have to change, or I have to, sort of contort to what they want and act how they want me to act. If you can't show up and really just be yourself, that would push me more towards saying that's not a healthy option for you.
To stay in this
if you
group.
feel secure enough that you're able to show up and know it's not about you, and not internalize this system or this cycle that's going on, if you can have that sort of like separation, I think that's okay. If you can't, then it gets dangerous, because then you're going to start to contort yourself into something that you think the group wants, and that becomes more of like fawning behavior.
And that's dangerous, whether it's friendships, relationships, any type of situation with another person. You don't want to contort to them.
Exactly.
So, absolutely.
Exactly. If she's at a phase in her life where she feels strong enough to risk losing the entire, because this whole group could side with Queen Bee, right?
They could say it's more important for them to keep the peace.
Yes. And say, I don't.
And they might say, all right.
Yep, I don't want to deal with this. And so if she feels strong enough.
That's too bad.
Yeah. And if she feels like she is strong enough, or she's reached her limit, that might be the right choice for her to choose self-respect over the relationships.
But to realize that if she chooses the relationships for now, that's not a bad choice if it works for her.
Exactly.
If it's eating her up inside, then it might be time for some hard decisions.
That's exactly it. If staying is more costly than leaving, and that's with any relationship, that's when we really have to consider, why am I staying? If staying still gives her some benefit and it's not eating her alive, maybe that's okay for this stage in her life.
For this season.
Yeah, for this season. Maybe that's fine. And so I'd like people to know, I think when these dilemmas come up, people start to feel really trapped and like it is very black and white. Like, do I stay or do I leave? And you can play around with what feels right. You can test the waters. She can try, showing up and seeing how that feels for her, just the small events she's invited to. If it's eating her alive and it's not working for her, then she could try being more open and honest and saying, you know what, I don't like this. This does not feel right to me. She can try that. So we start to feel trapped in these systems. And part of it is because the person leading it doesn't want you to have control. They want you to feel trapped and cornered. Yeah. And so in a way, taking a step back gives you back the control that you can choose if you show up or if you don't show up. You can choose how much you let their dynamics impact your inner world. And that's a way to take back control.
And that's not easy. No. It has to be an intentional thing. You're not just going to suddenly be like, oh, I'm cool, cool. No. Like you have to decide, I'm drawing this personal boundary.
Exactly.
And I decide when I want to attend. I decide when I want to engage. I decide how I'm going to allow Queen Bee and the rest of this group to make me feel with whatever invites or lack of invites.
And it's not easy. Yeah. It's hurtful too when other members don't stand up for fairness or for what you think is right, because they're also under this umbrella of the social dynamics. And so it is hurtful.
And then often to think it's hurtful, but realizing that it's not about you. It's not about listener. It's about Queen Bee and control. Yes. And I think when you can kind of separate that, and it's not, oh, I'm not funny enough, I'm not witty enough, I'm not whatever enough. It's not that. It's Queen Bee's going to do the cycle that Queen Bee's going to do. And wherever you're in that cycle, like, do you want to stay on this ride or are you ready to get off?
Yep. And she can see other people are on the ride as well, right? Like it sounds like it's not just her that's going on this ride in this cycle.
No, there are different friends at various stages in this cycle.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
And you can just kind of step back and watch it go round and round.
And I think learning from this framework and putting a name to all of these behaviors, I feel like will be hopefully helpful for this listener and other women who are experiencing this, because this is not a completely uncommon situation. But when they can name it, it almost becomes a little humorous of like, oh, I see exactly what you're doing. Whether Queen Bee knows it or not, it takes away the power she has over you in an element, because you're like, oh, you're in stage 2, or I'm in stage 2, or whatever.
I see where this is going, right? I see where this is going.
Yeah, and I don't like the ending.
Yeah, it's taking a bird's eye view, and again, that gives you back some of your power. And this happens. Absolutely. This isn't to say she's narcissistic. As a psychologist, I have to make that disclaimer. But this is a narcissistic cycle that we see. We see it in workplaces. We can see it in team sports. We can see it in friend groups. We can see it in mom groups. We can see it all over. This is what happens when large groups of human beings get together. It can happen if you get a certain personality in that mix.
Gosh, Dr. Santorelli, thank you so much.
I hope this
you
is
have
helpful.
Such valuable. Absolutely. Good. I think this will help so many people who are listening and will really serve as kind of a warning. So if you start seeing those signs in your friend group or your whatever group you're in, you can put a name to it and you can realize, oh, it's not just me, and recognize where these power dynamics are. So thank you so much. I appreciate all you're doing.
Thank you.
Dr. Santorelli, where can people find you and learn more about the work you're doing?
So they can mostly find me on Instagram. It's just DrNoelle Santorelli. So Dr. Noëlle Santorelli on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, same handle. And I do have a website, www.drnoellesantorelli.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Santorelli. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You think that friendship is just going to be easy once you're an adult, and you realize once you're an adult, you're like, oh no, it's not always so easy. You still have a lot of those tough situations sometimes. a lot of those tough friends. So to anybody who just feels like they haven't found their people or they're feeling disconnected, like I really do challenge people to like, again, I will die on this hill. Send the voice memo, like reach out to your friends, do it in like low stakes ways, because sometimes your friends, there's not enough bandwidth to say like, oh, let's get dinner or let's do whatever. And again, if your friendships are just existing on the catch up dinners or brunches or whatever, like be the creative one and say, hey, we're going to do a spin class together, or we're going to do,
we're going to do the aerial silks, which I totally want to do it. I totally want to do it.
I don't think I'm ready for aerial silks, but I do love like, hey, let's do the city bikes. Let's do a cooking class. You can go on. I mean, there are so many things like Airbnb experiences,
let's go, take a ghost city tour.
Yeah, go do a thing. Make new memories. So anyway, those are my challenges to the people of the podcast. So anyway, thank you guys for being here and for listening. This is a long one, I know. So that's what she said. Sarah.
And now I get to get into physics. Ew.
Sorry. No. Sarah, thank you for being here again and again and again.
Anytime.
Yes. Until next time. Next time. Bye.
Bye.